Today, on Be Something Wonderful, give up all other beliefs except this one. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Another big morning and more sessions, early morning session, and a lot talking about the last two videos now that have been posted, a lot of questions. And one of them, an early morning session with a client, an ongoing client, that said, Tom, I really love this. It reminds me really of the lesson from the Pearl of Great Price, right? This is a lesson that Neville Goddard teaches in his teachings, but referring to the verse in scripture of the costly pearl or the pearl of great price. We're going to talk about that today because there was a big message. There were a few of you, though, I've noticed with comments on the channel that are still looking at this in a different way, and that's okay. But I really want to cover some of what you commented on. One of you was talking about this idea that, oh, Tom, or Be Something Wonderful is calling out limiting beliefs, and that Be Something Wonderful should look at their catchphrase, leveling up. None of us need to level up because we're all perfect. And I wasn't sure where this person was going with this, and then talked about, if I want to wear a red shirt in the morning, I'll wear a red shirt, or a blue shirt or blue shirt. Not sure what they're talking about. I get it. You get to choose your shirts. None of that's in debate. You get the free will to choose whatever you want to think or have an opinion on, or whatever you want to assume. None of that's ever been in debate. And the whole channel is about that you are this perfect divine being having a physical experience. And the idea of the physical experience is to decide which part of that fully evolved being, that fully perfect whole being that you are, that you want to experience next through your assumptions and beliefs. So none of that's in the debate. Your idea that we're calling out limiting beliefs, that's your reality. I just want you to know that's your assumption, your feeling called out. Do you hear it? That's coming from a place within you. Oh, they're calling me out, right? I've never used that word, and that's never what that was about. And mostly all got that it wasn't about calling out limiting beliefs. It was showing that assumptions create reality. That's all we're ever talking about here, right? And then you went on to defend that, right? Defend that idea by saying, well, we're all perfect. And we've never talked about anything but your perfection. Do you see it? So you're wrapping that up and saying, well, we're all perfect, and you should look at the catchphrase about leveling up. What does leveling up really mean? It doesn't mean that you're imperfect and you need to reach for perfection. It means you're already that perfection. Leveling up means seeing more of the whole you that you are, of the divinity, of the unity, of the perfection, the God within you. That's what it's about, recognizing more of that. Do you hear it? So, and then another one of these said, does that mean I have to, this was a question from one of my clients and others. Does that mean I have to be a doormat, that I can't have opinions, that I can't set boundaries? And none of that, remember, those are all your assumptions. They're not the message here, right? You're interpreting that as I've got to be a doormat, or I can't have my own opinions, or I can't set boundaries. None of that's the message, right? None of that. Those are your assumptions. Those are that's not the message here. That's what you're interpreting in it from your own beliefs, from your own assumptions. That's your defensive way to look at it, right? Hey, wait a minute. Nothing you do or don't do, say or don't say, and no boundary you set or don't set will be big enough, hear this, to protect you from whom and what you're conscious of being. That's the message. Do you hear it? It's not about whether you set boundaries, whether you move away from a situation that doesn't serve you. Do whatever you feel inspired to do. It's not about that. It's not about being a doormat or anything like that. Those are all things that came from within you. Those were never mentioned, right? Nothing you do or don't do, say or don't say, or no boundary you set or don't set will be big enough to protect you from whom or what you're conscious of being. Your life is about whom and what you're conscious of being. It's about your assumptions, what you assume. That's the message. And you get to choose what those are in every moment. Do you hear it? Leveling up is about remembering the perfection, the love, the unity, the completeness of who you already are, of who you really are. Do you see it? So all of that is coming from a place of feeling that you're feeling called out, feeling that, but what about defending your limiting beliefs, that you have to set boundaries, that you're being a doormat, that you're creating a reality. Remember, when you feel that need to protect, when you feel that need to set boundaries, you're creating a reality of setting boundaries, right? Boundaries become natural by who you assume, whom and what you are. It's the boundary of being. And that's the life that you lead. That's what we're talking about. Now, I'm not saying that if there's a physical manifestation, a circumstance, an event that is putting you in danger, or that you feel that is not serving you, then make a decision to move away. It's not about that. But it's about that those circumstances will continue, will persist, until you change the state of consciousness that you're occupying. Do you see it? It's your state of consciousness. It's your assumptions that determine who and what you are being determines the reality, determines your physical reality, determines the people, events, and circumstances around you. That's really what I wanted to say with that. So don't be a doormat. Have opinions, set boundaries. All that's okay. No one's saying not do any of that. That's not what these videos have been about, right? The current script may require that. May require that you move away from a situation that doesn't serve you. It may require that you set boundaries. It may require that you have opinions. Do you see it? Don't resist any of the script. I'm not talking about that. But do it all from assuming and imagining, claiming that ideal version of the self and reality. Do it all from that higher perspective, right? Assume and imagine what you want to be, and then boundaries will be automatic. What you say and do will flow from that. What you think and feel will all flow from who you assume you are. That's why Jesus asked the question, who do you say I am? Pressing his disciples, right? When they came up with all these other answers, right? John the Baptist, Elijah, or Jeremiah. But Jesus pressed them. That I am is asking you, who do you say you are? Sure, you want to set boundaries. You don't want to be a doormat. You want to have opinions, but who do you say you are? Because that determines your entire life experience, right? The paradox is, when you do imagine, assume, and claim that ideal version of yourself, who you want to be, what you want to be, when you do, the idea of being a doormat dissolves. Your opinions come from a higher ideal, come from truth. And the idea of having to set boundaries becomes absurd. It becomes obsolete. It makes no sense. Because you don't have to set boundaries. Your beingness sets boundaries, right? You are one with love. That's the message, right? The entire 3D world rearranges itself around who and what you're conscious of being, period. Love has no boundaries. So be in love, flow love, see love, be love, and then you don't need any boundaries, right? Love expands, it extends. That's what we're talking about here. So either you assume and believe you are already that person you desire to be, or you don't. This is the message of the price of Great Pearl. You can let go of every other belief, every other thing that you think is true or happening to you, and assume and claim that ideal, right? If you don't, right, either you assume and believe you're already that person you desire to be, or you don't. But if you don't, you can't see past your own limiting assumptions, your own limiting beliefs, your own opinions, and your own boundaries. Do you see it? When you don't claim, assume, and imagine and be that person you want to be, knowing you already are that, which is always the message. That's what leveling up means, recognizing it's already within you, right? It had nothing to do with saying that you're not perfect, right? That's coming from you, as I said to that describe. That's coming from all you. If you don't, you can't see past your own limiting assumptions. You can't see past your beliefs and opinions and boundaries. You create a reality of not wanting to be a doormat, but always feeling like one. Do you hear it? Of not wanting to, needing to set boundaries. You create a reality of needing to set boundaries, of not wanting to be a doormat. And as you complain, as you criticize, as you defend, as you avoid, while offering opinions on what is good, bad, right or wrong, correct or incorrect. Do you see it? When you don't assume that higher ideal, and instead you just feel trapped by your own assumptions, beliefs, and opinions and boundaries, you create a reality of not wanting to be a doormat. You create a reality that needs to set boundaries. You create a reality of complaining, of criticizing, and defending. You create a reality of things to complain about, to defend, to criticize. Well, while you offer opinions on what's good or bad, right or wrong, or current or correct or incorrect, right? Your freedom, hear this, your freedom lies in imagining and assuming you're already living your ideal reality and seeing the world from that viewpoint and identity. That's what it's all about. And then then the boundaries dissolve, right? There's no more, the discussion of doormat is no longer an issue. Whether you can opine on something or have an opinion is no longer an issue. Everything's coming from that higher you, from that ideal, and that's all you see. Do you see it? That's the message of the Pearl of Great Price. Remember, love has no boundaries. Love has no opinions. Love is truth. Love is an awareness of being, I am. Love is consciousness. Love is all that is, right? It's about letting every other belief or assumption go. That's the Pearl of Great Price. Matthew 13:45. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking a beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. In other words, gave up all other beliefs than the beliefs of that kingdom within. Your higher ideal, your assumptions, that your imagination, that the God within you is reality, and that's all the reality. Right? Love is the only reality. Imagination is the only reality. Who you assume and what and who you assume you are is the only reality. Give up all other beliefs than that. And then you are living heaven on earth. That's what this message is in the Pearl of Great Price. So either I am or I am not. That's the only question, be or not to be, right? So great is this pearl. This is what Neville Goddard says. So valuable that it takes everything that you own to buy it, right? Everything that you believe in a God outside yourself to be it, to have it, to experience that kingdom within. That's the pearl. The pearl is your I am, not I am not. Not looking for points of disagreement and points where you're not that. It's I am, period. Right? I am that all. In other words, it takes everything that you now believe in other than it to pay for it. Neville Goddard. In other words, this is my words, in other words, it takes everything that you now believe in other than it to pay for it. It takes everything that you now believe in other than that I amness, other than that kingdom within, your imagination, your assumptions, to pay for it, right? I am not feels like a doormat to the outside world, right? I am not. That feels like being a doormat, feels a need to set boundaries, right? You announce what's right and wrong and good and bad when you're feeling that I am not. That's what the feeling of I am not is. It feels like a doormat to the outside world. It feels like you have a need to set boundaries. And it feels like you have to announce what's right and wrong and good or bad and criticize and complain and pick apart things. I am is a pure positive love. Nothing can penetrate love but more love. Love needs no boundaries. Love is no doormat. It's just love and more love. It's pure positive love. Nothing can penetrate it but love. Do you see that? So you can't hold on to one thing you now believe in as a power that controls your life and still hope to buy the Pearl of Great Price, Neville Goddard. Right? Do you see that? All of that idea, right? This idea that there's power outside of you. Right? The idea that somehow we're calling assumptions, we're calling out things, right? All of this idea is believing in another power. When you believe in that I amness, when you believe in that assumption of that God within you, then you are there. Then you don't have to hold on to any other belief. You've got to let go. This really gets to the idea of you've got to let go of every other old version of yourself, every other old reality, when you want to move into the ideal of who you truly are. Hold on to nothing but the belief in your absolute unity with God, in that oneness with all that is. Hold on to no other belief than that. The belief that you're divine, the belief that you're perfect, the belief that all realities exist within you, that all potential exists within you, and that you get to choose what part of that evolution, what part of that ultimate wholeness that you are, that you want to experience next. That's our message, right? When you have found the cause of the phenomena of life, let every other belief go. Neville Goddard, one of my favorite quotes. So powerful. You have found the phenomenal life. You can let every other belief go, right? And stop defending and justifying those limiting beliefs and assumptions, right? I have told you that I am He. Therefore, if you seek me, let these go their way. This is Jesus in John 18:8, right? When they were looking for Jesus of Nazareth, right? I have told you that I am He. They asked him, who are you? A couple times, right? Second time he goes, I told you who I am. Now let everything else go. Do you hear it? Your I am is saying, I told you who you are. Now let every other belief go. We're not calling out anything, right? We're not telling you to be a doormat. We're not telling you not to have opinions. None of that's the message. We're saying that you are He. You are that I am. Let every other belief go. Give up all other beliefs except this one. I am your host, Tom Kearin. And this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. The channel, like I said, it's really exciting these days with Be Something Wonderful. Thank you for liking the videos, sharing the videos. Thank you for joining the membership channel. Thank you for joining the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, the Be Something Wonderful ambassadors, where you can share insight and guidance and ask for insight and guidance from others. We also have an Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, or just visit our website anytime at tomkearin.com or besomethingwonderful.com. With great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, creators, see you soon.